Well, good evening and welcome to the Islandstats English Premier Division and Bermuda Overseas Players Show here on islandstats.com. I'm your host, Earl Based, and joining me is co-host Antoine Augustus. Gussie, it's been an interesting weekend of English Premier football, twists and turns, new coaches, all sorts of things happening. And let me just quickly get to the results from this past weekend. We'll start off with Friday night. It was Brighton Hove Albion 1, Southampton 1. And then it was West Ham United 2, Arsenal 5. Wolverhampton Wanderers 2, Bournemouth 4. Nottingham Forest 1, Ipswich Town 0. Crystal Palace 1. Newcastle United 1, Brentford 1, Leicester City 1. Brentford 4, Leicester City 1, Liverpool 2, Manchester City 0, Tottenham Hotspurs 1, Fulham 1, Manchester United 4, Everton 0, and Chelsea 3, Aston Villa 0. Well, Antoine, let's jump into that Friday night match because when you look at the standings, and you have Brighton and Southampton going to battle, it says a lot about where things are in the English game. Brighton in fourth, and Southampton at the bottom of the table, but they managed. And Southampton on the road as well managed a 1-1 draw.
Yeah. I watched. I think I saw the first goal. I saw Southampton's goal. So it was a good game actually. Southampton, they did pretty good. They did pretty good actually. A lot of people were not happy with Brighton. You know, Brighton's been on top of the table, and Brighton's been like giving these top 4, top 6 teams a run for their money.
Mm-hmm.
So to that was I would say Brighton probably took that as a loss.
Yeah,
Honestly.
I mean in their last 5 games they have a draw, a loss, 2 wins, and now this draw where Southampton have a loss, a victory, back-to-back losses, and now a draw. They're on 5 points. They have a lot of work to do to get they're in 20th place in the Premier Division, 4 points off of Ipswich, Wolves, and Crystal Palace, who all have 9 points right up to the 17th place. But still a lot of football to be played, and you know, if they get a good run and get some results, get a good 4-game run where they don't lose, or get a good 5-game run where they don't lose, pick up a few wins in between there, they're right into the mix. But you know, it's going to take them to believe in themselves to get them off the bottom of the table. So,
and I'm looking at the next 3 games. It's going to be very tough. Very tough. Chelsea tomorrow. I'm sorry, Chelsea on Wednesday.
Right.
Aston Villa on Saturday.
Yes.
And then Tottenham on the 16th.
Wow. Southampton's got to believe. All right. Well, let's jump over to the West Ham going down by a score of 5-2 to Arsenal. Obviously, Arsenal, West Ham in 14th place, Arsenal up into second on 25 points, along with Chelsea. There's 9 points behind Liverpool. But Arsenal's been a bit finicky. I mean, in their last 5 games, they've had a draw, a loss, a draw, and now back-to-back wins. And this victory over West Ham, who would have been on a high coming into the game off a big win last weekend, would be a big disappointment for the West Ham fans.
Yeah, West Ham, you know, they're coming off a victory for Newcastle, draw to Everton. You know, they lost to Nottingham Forest, and they beat Manchester United.
Yeah,
so they're coming off. You know, what, a win, loss, draw, and a win. So
yeah, Yeah.
But West Ham,
The game was, wide open in the first half because girls
yes.
girls kept flying in that first half.
I
And you go in, you score just before the break to get yourself somewhat back into the game.
somewhat back to the game, and
Yeah.
no, and the funny thing about it is that I had just got on my break when I saw this, um,
Mm,
after driving, when he was, and I got in, and the game I missed about at least the first few minutes of this game, and when I came in, you know, a colleague of mine, he's a West Ham fan, and as soon as he came in, he was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Sorry, sir." We're like, "Yeah, it's 2-0 down," and he was like, as soon as he sat down, he was like, "No, it's too old." I was like, "It's serious?" But
yeah.
no, that was a good game. I like West Ham. West Ham has been that team that's been actually coming back. They came
Right.
back against Newcastle, so I guess.
They're fitting their bill mid-table.
Yeah,
They're in 14th place right now, so
I'm sorry,
they're doing their normal thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Clyde Bass, Sir Clyde Bass.
Yes.
I think he
Yes.
got his seat back up.
Wow. Let's turn our attention to Wolverhampton Wanderers losing
Yeah.
at home 4-2 to Bournemouth.
Mm-hmm.
Wolves obviously in 18th place, only with 9 points, but coming off a good run of 4 games, 2 draws, and
Yeah.
back-to-back victories
Victors. Yep.
into this game. And at home, and they go to a Bournemouth team who was coming off of back-to-back losses. But Bournemouth, they've been proven time and time again that on any given day they could match a team, and on that day they were too much for Wolves.
Yeah. I think what is Bournemouth's standings?
They're in 13th place with 18
13th
points.
place. Yeah. And Wolves is sitting at
Wolves,
18th.
yeah, 18th with 9 points. Yeah, but
Wow.
they would have in their last before Saturday or before this weekend, they picked up 8 points in 4 games with 2 wins and 2 draws, and
Yeah.
that got them from the 1 point they had after 8 games to go to 9 points after 12 games. But then they played the 13th game and lost their 8th game of the season.
Yeah. I think the last time, the last loss was against City's last win.
Yeah.
So what? Yeah, City 2-1, and then Brighton, they drew to Brighton 2-2, Crystal Palace 2-2,
Mm-hmm.
Southampton 2-0, Fulham 4-1.
Yeah.
They were looking pretty good. They looked like they was coming up, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I guess Portman just says, "No, I'm sorry."
Yeah, because they needed the points as well.
Yeah.
You got a Bournemouth.
Yeah, like you said earlier, the bottom is getting a little tight.
Yeah.
Tottenham. I'm sorry. They got Southampton, Ipswich, Wolves,
And
Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Leicester City, and Everton.
We'll talk about Leicester City because they just signed a new coach who watched. I saw a little bit of him in the stands, and he started off writing in a book, and he probably wrote a book by the time the game was finished. But we'll talk about Ruud van Nistelrooy when we get to that Leicester game. And the next game we want to talk about is Nottingham Forest edging Ipswich Town 1-0 at home. Forest has been on a run. They started to slip down the table. At one point in time, they were second, weren't they? Or no, third.
Yes, they was. I think they were second. They were second.
Okay.
Yeah, they were second.
But now they're in 6th place on 22 points, 3 points behind Arsenal, who are in 2nd place with 25 points. But their last few games, they had back-to-back wins and they have back-to-back losses. Yeah. So in their last 5 games, they've been able to pick up 9 points out of the possible 15. which puts them on 22 points, 6 wins, 4 draws, and 3 losses. A team like Ipswich, they're struggling. They've got the 9 points. Their season has been one of ups and downs. 1 victory, 6 draws, 6 losses. In their last 5 games, they had a loss, 2 draws, a victory, and then this loss on the weekend, losing 1-0 on their road to Nottingham Forest.
But well, they drew to Leicester City 1-0, and then they beat Tottenham. So I guess they thought they was up and up, and then they drew to United. So what can you say? Tottenham and United, you get 3 points. You got 4 points. I'm sorry. So that's a plus for Ipswich. I really do. I have to give that to them.
Yeah.
And then Nottingham Forest was like, what a team that beat Liverpool. So defending leaders. So
yeah.
But yeah, it's I always have to come down to like that's how special the English Premier League is.
Yes.
So
any given Sunday, any given day, anybody could beat anybody.
Correct.
And it just goes to show Crystal Palace and Newcastle ended in a 1-1 draw. You look at a team like Newcastle, new owners, starting to spend a lot of money in the team, which the results are going to take some time. They're in 11th place with 19 points. Their last 5 games have been 2 victories, 2 draws. I'm sorry, 2 victories, 2 losses, and then this draw on the weekend. And a team like Crystal Palace, the draw put them on 9 points and put them in 17th place. But that relegation battle is tight because let's look at it. Everton, who are in 15th, have 11 points. Leicester in 16th have 10 points. Crystal Palace, Wolves, and Ipswich have 9 points. So, and then there's a gap with Bournemouth of 3 points because they have 18. But,
exactly.
When you start looking at the match between a match that Crystal Palace are playing at home, they have to look to try and get the most out of it, to try and get 3 points at home and then see if they can solidify themselves on the road. But
next week they got Ipswich, so basically a battle of whoever loses this is
in deep trouble.
Yes.
Yeah. Because we still have that big Christmas round of matches to be played as well.
Yeah. And I'm surprised with Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace, they have Manchester United as a goalkeeper. You would have thought Dean Henderson would have doing pretty good. I'm right now scratching my head like Manchester United. You dodged a bullet. It's like all this time Dean Henderson says he can take a Premiership team, take a Premiership side. You got your chance, and what are you doing?
What is he working with? Is he working with a shambles of a defense, or
correct?
You know what I mean? Because the goalkeeper only gets, you only hear about the goalkeeper when he makes a mistake and the ball goes in the goal. You don't hear too much about when he's saving a team time in and time out, or making a save look easy because he's in the right position.
And you're right. You're actually right, because actually, and I say this as well. It's like I also saw this game as well, and I saw one goal that he let in, and it wasn't his fault. I mind you, the defender was not in position. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I in your defense, he has what he has in the back. Wade, Mitchell, Hurling, compared to what would they have in Manchester United?
Sounds like Bermuda back four. The last names.
Hurling, Mitchell, Wade. Oh shit. Yeah.
So it's got a Bermuda back four. So yeah, that can spell it all for you right there, mate.
Yeah, it started having a Harry Maguire and
yeah.
But no, you're right.
Yeah. Well, let's take our first commercial break, and when we come back, we'll continue with the Premiership roundup. We'll be right back.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
Holidays are busy enough. Why not let Lindo's Drop It take a little off your plate? From St. David's to Somerset, Drop It delivers from Lindo's straight to your door. It's easy, convenient, and leaves you with more time for friends and family. This season, let Lindo's Drop It make holiday shopping as effortless as the holidays should be. Order now and let us handle the rest. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Beneath the cloud blue sky, where the ocean meets the land, and the long-tail fly in Bermuda. Our hearts belong to this beautiful island. As an island, we are strong, proudly Bermudian. In every single way, from the sunrise to the sunset, and every single day for over 135 years. It's been clear, the silence proudly Bermudian. Bringing us near. Cause we are proudly Bermudian. Digital is proudly Bermudian. Digital is proudly Bermudian.
And welcome back. Well, to continue, Antoine, we'll look at the Brentford versus Leicester City match. That was Brentford 4, Leicester City, who have just signed the former assistant manager from Manchester United in Van Nistelrooy as their manager. But he's got a mountain to climb to keep them up. But he's not got the players that were at his disposal at the other clubs that he's been in charge at Leicester City. So it's gonna be a bit of a learning curve for him to not lower his expectations, but to have some reality checks in what he's going to ask these players to be able to do to get the better out of them.
Yeah. Like you said, he's not got a Rashford nor or Anthony nor them type of players at Leicester City. So he's gonna have to do some work. And at the bottom of the tables, let's see how good of a coach, how good of a manager he is.
Yeah.
This really shows, how good are you? If you can coach a big team, a big club in Manchester United for 4 games, let's see what you can do, at Leicester City. I guess you beat them twice.
Yeah.
And then the manager, the owner was like, okay, cool, you can beat us twice, now come and coach us. So, but I you're right. Honestly, I gotta give it to Leicester. I gotta give it to Leicester City for giving him a chance to come and take over their club. He is a good coach. He is a good manager. Too bad that United didn't keep him on.
Right.
Yeah, and Leicester City, you know, they're coming back. Honestly, they're gonna come back.
Yeah,
They had a bump in the road and they're gonna come back. I think they'll probably survive.
yeah. Then you look at a team like Brentford, who with the win moved up to 8th place with 20 points.
Yeah.
And their last 5 games, they've got 3 victories, 1 loss, and a draw. The draw coming into this weekend's match. They seem to be riding high as well. I mean, you know, you start saying, okay, name 3 Brentford players. If you say that to someone, and you know, there'll be a struggle because they're playing as a team as opposed to individuals. Like you can name individuals on Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham. But when you start saying, give me some names of players that play for Brighton, Hove Albion, Nottingham Forest, and Brentford, you know, is a struggle.
Not Bristol City, but Brighton.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, some Bermudians probably look at it and say, oh, Nicky Wild's pitch. No, not that one. But yeah, you're right. You're right. Who can you name? At least give me the goalkeeper.
Yeah. And the good thing about that is when you look at it, I mean, that to me shows you how good of a manager they have because he's able to get the best out of a bunch of what most would consider no-name players to play as a unit. And if you look at a team like Brentford, they've picked up 6 wins in the Premiership to put them on 20 points. Only lost 5 with 2 draws. So
I was just looking at who their coach is, Thomas Frank.
Yeah.
He's a pretty good manager. He's good. He can do the
trust
job.
and the belief of the players and the backing of the club to understand that right now they're in the top 10 of the Premier Division, one of the toughest divisions in the world to play in. If you're in the top 10, that says a lot for you, especially if you're a club like Brentford.
But I'm looking at it and they have, sheesh. I'm looking at their team sheet, their team sheet. I'm
still trying to find a name that you know.
I got a Jamaican, I got a Netherlands. You know, they're doing pretty good. You know.
Yeah.
But no, I don't see no player that I would.
You recognize, No. So that's when you see how well the manager has his team clicking. When you have a group of players who are not well known, but they're up in the 8th place in the Premier Division, speaks volumes. For me, it speaks volumes of what that manager's been able to do with his squad. So
I think remember we said this a couple of weeks ago with Aston Villa as well. That's another team that they all gel as one. You know, it's not one superstar, but you gel as one. It's a team. It's 11 players on a pitch.
That's right. Yeah. Now we got to that match that everybody was tuned into yesterday, where Manchester City are not having a good run right now. In their last
6.
Well, if you look at it, in their last 5 league games, going into yesterday, in their last 4 league games, they had 1 win, 3 losses in the league. They lost. Well, they haven't won a game in 6 games. Because they lost in the Champions League and then drew in the Champions League, and then yesterday's loss made it 6 games without a victory. And they dropped down to 5th place. They've lost 4 games. I think they lost 4 games in all of last season. I believe it was just 4 games.
If it wasn't 4, I think it was 3. I think it was 3 or 4. Yeah.
Right. But they've already lost 4 games in the league this season already. And they are now what 11 points behind Liverpool, who are league leaders, and they are they're only 2 points from second place from Arsenal.
Yes.
So on a good weekend, they could be right back in second if Arsenal and Chelsea slip up and they get a victory, they could be in second place. But right now, if you look at what's going on at Manchester City, the coach alluded to it a little bit and then got away from it. He's got an aging team.
Mm-hmm.
Injuries have crept in. The thing is, and we talked about it before, a team like Manchester City, you can take out a player and put another player in. They don't skip a beat. However, if the player that you're putting in is injured or not up to par right now, which I think that's been the problem. They've had to fill gaps with players who are not up to par right now. They're aging or they're coming back from an injury and they're not even 100%. And you see, last week when Tottenham beat them, Tottenham just used pace to run right across a defense that almost looked like they were standing still.
Mm-hmm. No, and honestly, I really think like it's catching up to, like you said, it's catching up to them. Injuries catching up, time is catching up. Because remember, City had played how many games last season at all? Like how many games did they play last season? Over 100 games, Champions League and all competitions. Like so, and then you turn around, you had your confederations, like players are tired, players are tired. And then because they had played the FA Cup to turn around, they didn't even have a little break, but to turn back around to play in the Community Shield. So to turn the season right back into, So yes, I got to commend City. City has got a lot of tired burns, tired some wounds that they needed, and mind you, this is not the right time because, like you said, if you don't know English football, this December, you played 2 seasons in December.
Yeah.
You play a whole half of the season. I might as well say you play the half of the season in December. For some reason, some way or somehow, the only Premier League, the only league, you play half of the season in December. So this is not the time.
Plenty of games, you play plenty of games
in December, and this is not the time for City to be wounded. And
then you look at a team like Liverpool, who just they're comfortable right now. 34 points, won 11 games, drawn 1, lost 1. In their last 5 games, they have 4 wins and a draw. They're comfortable right now. They can actually lose another game or 2 and then still be in the lead. But they have to be very careful on how. And the coach has been very good so far in sharing the time for the players because I heard him talk after yesterday's game where he said we have to start looking at games ahead. So he was taking off players after a certain amount of times to save their legs because he knows there's a lot of football to come. And we've already recognized that this month here they'll play more than the usual amount of football, especially if it's still Champions League games to be played over the next 2 weeks.
It's very hectic. And question, is Kevin De Bruyne injured? Because I haven't really seen him.
He's just come back from injury. He played midweek. He came on midweek. Struggled a bit in that Champions League game that they were leading 3-0 in and then ended up 3-3.
Because that's without him. I honestly have always out of City players, there's a couple of City players that I like. Even Sean Goda, one of them, Company the other, and Kevin De Bruyne. That's my 3 City players that I would adore for lifetime. But Kevin De Bruyne, he was always that field general for me that could control in the midfield. if nobody can't get the ball to Holland, Kevin De Bruyne again.
Yeah.
You know, so I
But
think
again, like you mentioned, all those games last season or the games the season before that, no real break in the summer. Preseason in the United States. The Charity Cup, all of that, it starts to add up. And if you've got a little nagging injury or if you're aging a bit, your step gets a little slower. All of that comes to play, and then you're not the same person.
Yeah, and then turn around. International break was fast and furious this year. So that it's a lot of work. I got to give it to Pep. I got to give it to City. I'm sorry, City fans, but yes, you are right.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take our second commercial break, and when we come back, we'll continue with our Premier Division roundup.
Over the pink sands, beneath the cloud blue sky, where the ocean meets the land, and the long-tailed fly in Bermuda. Our hearts belong to this beautiful island. As an island, we are strong, proudly Bermudian. In every single way, from the sunrise to the sunset, and every single day, for over 135 years, it's been clear, it's silence for leave Bermudian, bringing us near. Cause we are proudly Bermudian. Digital is proudly Bermudian. Digital is proudly Bermudian.
They're putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
Holidays are busy enough. Why not let Lindo's Drop It take a little off your plate? From St. David's to Somerset, Drop It delivers from Lindo's straight to your door. It's easy, convenient, and leaves you with more time for friends and family. This season, let Lindo's Drop It make holiday shopping as effortless as the holidays should be. Order now and let us handle the rest. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Well, Antoine, to continue, let's look at Tottenham getting a draw with Fulham. At the end of the match, a lot of Tottenham fans were booing their team because Fulham were down to 10 men early in the second half, but managed to pull a goal back right after Tottenham had taken the lead. But they're disappointed with the way the team's playing. Now, I heard the Tottenham manager talking about the style of play and how he plans out games and so forth, and they're not looking to change their style, and sometimes it's going to hurt him until he has 40 players in the right place in the right time. He's without two center halves, and he's just making do with what he's got right now.
Yeah. No, he's right. Another team has got injuries, and that has to basically try to cope with it. So Tottenham, and they're coming off of a victory, so a big victory last week. So,
yeah.
Fulham.
They have 20 points, and sit in seventh place. When you look at their last 5 games, including over the weekend, they have 2 wins, 2 losses, and a draw. So You know,
Fulham.
Fulham at 10th place.
Yeah.
You know,
Fulham,
so
Fulham doing pretty good as well. 10th exactly. The 19 points, and that's a lot of players, a lot of teams. Look at that. Look at that. Like Bournemouth 18, Aston Villa 19, Fulham 19,
yeah.
Manchester United 19, Brentford 20.
Mm-hmm.
Tottenham 20, Nottingham Forest 22, City 23, and City's at 5th.
Yeah.
That's from the 13th.
Yeah.
So, yeah, anybody can jump from first half of the table to the bottom of the half of the table.
That's right. That's right, without a doubt. And being that you talked about that, we'll look at this Manchester United beating Everton 4-0, and that would have taken United from 16 points on to the 19 and up to 9th place, because I think they started. Did they start in 14th place or 15th?
Yes.
13th, something like that.
14th.
14th, and with the goal difference, you know, they're moved up. The goal difference of +4, where Fulham is even.
Even
Newcastle even, and Aston Villa's -3, all on 19 points. But if you look at Manchester United's last 5 games, including the weekend, they have a loss, 2 draws, and 2 victories now, and a victory in the manager's first home game in the league. He got a draw in his first league game.
At home. His first home victory as well.
Yeah, his first home victory. And then you look at a team like Everton, who in their last 5 games, including over the weekend, have 3 draws and 2 losses. They're still in the struggle of, they're about to be bought by an American company. So not a lot of money is being spent. They're building a new ground. So, and funny enough, this weekend will be the last Merseyside meeting at the Everton ground at Goodison Park, because their new stadium will open next season. But their coach has got to put up with what he has at his disposal. I mean, there was one point in time earlier in the season where he only had 11 players.
Yeah, looking like a Bermuda game.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where he's battling hard. He's got to keep the players motivated. He's got to keep them understanding that, you know, if they can get themselves out of the little rut they're in, mind you, they'll need 2 victories to catch up with West Ham, because West Ham have 4 points ahead of them, you know, to get themselves out of this relegation sort of battle, because they have 11 points. And as we already recognized, 17th through 19th all have 9 points. So they're 2 points behind Everton. So, and remember, Everton saved themselves on the last day of last season to stay up.
I think they're still the only team that hasn't been relegated. Them and Arsenal, right?
Yeah.
But I'm looking at Everton's next few games for Wolves on the 4th.
Yeah, they play Wolves Wednesday night, and then they play Liverpool on Saturday.
And they play Liverpool,
yeah.
So, and then Arsenal,
right,
and then Chelsea,
and
then City.
They really need to get something positive out of Wednesday night's game. And then hopefully they can keep their runaway leading neighbors at bay.
and just hope that City is still in the little slump. And that's Boxing Day.
Yeah. So we shall see how they make out.
Yeah.
And then the final game, Chelsea 3, Aston Villa 0. The win moved Chelsea up right next to Arsenal. Excuse me, in the standings. In their last 5 games, including the weekend, Chelsea have 3 wins and 2 draws.
Correct. Then and they beat some good players. They're Aston Villa 3-0 this weekend. Leicester City 2-1. Arsenal, they drew to Arsenal 1-0. Yeah, they drew to Manchester United 1-0. So Chelsea and Chelsea are they're starting to catch their form. They're starting to understand, that they're coming up, because at one point I think they were second. I think they were second this weekend, wasn't they?
Coming into the weekend?
Yeah, I think they were second.
Oh, okay.
And right now they're tied with Arsenal with 25 points each.
Yeah, but if you look at it, a team like Chelsea have been quietly just going about their business. Not a lot of people are making a lot of noise about them. They were early in the season getting some bad negative press, but slowly but surely they've put themselves in a position where, what you want to do is be paying for a Champions League spot, not trying to win the league if you can't win the league.
Correct. And honestly, I think they can do it. It's been how many years that Chelsea has been mid-table? They're starting to a new earner, yes, with the American taking over. They're starting to gradually, because mind you, they everybody, like you said, everybody's been giving them a little flack, buying up players left, right, and center. Got a whole, I don't know, six teams going over there.
Right.
I think that's why what's his name has Everton had 11 players, because I think Chelsea tried to take them all. So Chelsea is now starting to see, what, we got some quality players. We can at least give a run for the money, not the title race, but like you said, try to at least get back into Europe. We haven't been in Europe for, I think, 2 seasons, so now they want to get back. So it's time for them. I think it is time for them, Chelsea, to get back. Like you said, well, everybody goes through the slump. Liverpool's going through the slump. City went through the slump. Chelsea's coming off the slump. Manchester United's in their slump. Arsenal's been through the slump. Tottenham, everybody has gone through a slump, and it's just that it takes a couple of years. It doesn't take a season or two. It takes 2, 3, 4 seasons, and I think Chelsea is now starting to catch themselves. So I give it up. I give my hats off to Chelsea. That you're starting to understand and starting to get the grasp of, especially the new owner.
Yeah. Well, before we get into the Bermuda players over the weekend, we just want to say the third round of the FA Cup in the UK has been drawn, and it's Arsenal who will face holders Manchester United in the third round. Tottenham are away to non-league Tamworth. Liverpool will face Arlington Stanley. Newcastle will face Bromley, and Aston Villa will face West Ham in another All Premier Division matchup. So interesting enough, Manchester City are home to Salford City, but that Arsenal Manchester United will be the biggest one.
Most definitely.
Third round of the FA Cup.
Most definitely. And it's funny, and I was looking at that standard, I was looking at like, well, Manchester United, we really have to fight to redeem our title. And the thing about it is, can you imagine the two most richest FA Cup clubs are fighting in the third round?
Yeah.
It's like, remember years ago when Arsenal was winning the FA Cup, and United was winning the cup. So it was like 13, 14, 14, 15. It was like that, like kept on,
right.
And now I think Manchester United, with this victory of winning the FA Cup, has took over the most FA Cups in England. But to have, I honestly, I don't know. I would love to be a fly on Manchester United or Arsenal's wall right now, like when the draw came out, like scratching my head, like, how did we do this? Like, how did we get Arsenal and not in the fourth round, not in the quarterfinals, not in the semifinals, but in the third round?
That's why they have these draws.
The luck of the draw, yes.
Yeah. You look at a team like Bromley in their first season in the Football League and playing in the FA Cup third round. They will head to St. James Park. They will face Newcastle. It's what they call magic moments, especially for these non-league teams, because a team like Bromley, they'll probably get their entire salaries paid just by going to Newcastle, because if Newcastle could fill out the stadium, because each team, the away team, gets percentage of the gate for the FA Cup. That's why these non-league teams and these lower league teams, they look forward to the FA Cup so they can, help with their books.
Yeah. Sometimes it wonders me, is like, for how can back, I know now, but back in the day, it's like I always used to think, like, for a Chelsea playing low tier team, going to a low tier team stadium, it's like you're used to being capacity of 75,000, and then you got to go to 1,500.
Yeah.
And
that's why those teams when they're home fight out for a draw just so they can go.
So they can go, but not anymore.
Pray that they get to go on the road. They don't mind going on the road, and they don't mind losing it, because as a club, it's a payday. The players look and say, "Well, let's see what we can do against these big name players and so forth." But the club itself is saying, "Hey, this is our bank day." Yep. Yeah.
So a little slide into our Bermuda side. But what did the Keys? Who did the Key get?
Let's see. Bristol City will face. They're at home. They got playing Wolves. So that for them, that's a good draw.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You might be playing against a future champions. Well, you know what? How Bristol City is playing. Bristol City could be, and Wolves could be swapping positions. Bristol City could be in the Premiership.
They're struggling. They're up and down team. They have to get on a good run. They literally need to get on a good run.
Yeah. But I think that was a good draw for Bristol City.
Definitely.
It was a good draw. And it's at Wolves, you said?
It's at Bristol City.
Oh, okay. That's a pretty good one. Yes. I'll be happy.
So the thing is, those matches will be played the weekend of January the 11th. So it's still a month away, but it's still a lot to talk about as they lead up to it. So let's take our final commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at the Bermuda players, both male and female, and coaches overseas taking part in games this weekend. We'll be right back.
Over the pink sands, beneath the clear blue sky, where the ocean meets the land, and the long tails fly in Bermuda. Our hearts belong to this beautiful island. As an island, we are strong, godly Bermudian. In every single way, from the sunrise to the sunset, and every single day, for over 135 years, it's been clear. It's silence proudly Bermudian, bringing us near. Cause we are proudly Bermudian. Digital is proudly Bermudian. Digital is proudly Bermudian.
It's that time again. The Bermuda FA Cup is coming up. Join us for a season of excitement, unity, and unforgettable games. Lindo's is thrilled to sponsor the Bermuda FA Cup, supporting a Bermudian tradition that brings us together. Come for the teams, stay for the atmosphere, and let's celebrate as a community. Lindo's, where football and family come together. Why go anyplace else?
offense.
You seeing this?
And welcome back. Well, Gussie, over the weekend, Nicky Wells and his Bristol City teammates, they defeated Plymouth Argyle 4-0 at Ashton Gate. Early in the match, Wells had an opportunity to give Bristol City the lead. Had a header from about some 6 yards out, but it went wide. But he was still instrumental in helping them to come away with 3 points on a day where, Bristol City were looking to keep themselves in a hunt for a championship playoff spot.
Yeah. I honestly, I gotta give, they're doing pretty good. Like I said, they're doing pretty good. I can give them to make it at the end of the season to a spot for promotion. For the what?
Yeah, I would definitely like to see McKee in a premiership match.
Yes, again, before he bows out.
Yeah.
And we all would love to see McKee to get up there and finally get some minutes. I know Huddersfield and what's his name used them. I'm sorry, they used him. I'm gonna say as what every match I said, every Bermudian fan says, you used him. You used him to get to where you did, and then you basically threw him away.
Yeah.
But my boy Nicky, he's got it, man. He's got it.
Yep. Yeah, he's proven himself over and over and over again. So.
Oh, most definitely. And like I said before, and I'm said it again. It's like once he comes back and plays for Bermuda, he just goes back and he's like it starts a fire.
Yeah.
He goes back and just starts scoring goals.
Mm-hmm.
If he needs a little slump or something, what? Bermuda's playing? Oh, Bermuda's playing. Okay, let's bring the key Wells come. Oh, okay. He scores from Bermuda. Oh, okay. He goes there and go score a hat trick.
Yeah.
So big shout outs to Nicky Wells.
Sure, definitely. Support there. Dale Eve was an unused substitute in Avil Church. They what's that?
Is he injured?
No. He just went back to him. He was at another club because both the goalkeepers got injured, and then
he's
coming back. He's going back to Avil Church, a team he played for 2 seasons ago, I believe. But they have another goalkeeper as well, so they're taking turns in goal. They all played midweek in the weekend, and then he watched from the sideline for this match.
I asked that because he didn't suit up for Bermuda. That's why I asked that.
Yeah. He was in the process of going back to the other club. And then we have a big contingent of Bermuda players playing for Binfield in Rozier Smith-Jones, Coolidge Fubler, Reese Jones, and Riley Robinson. We have another one that plays as well. They actually came out on top 4-3 against Harrow Borough in their game over the weekend. So the Bermuda players are contributing to Binfield, having a decent season. Yeah. And then we turn around, Norrie Scott. They picked up, they're playing for Lansing FC. They won 3-1 to pull themselves out of the relegation zone in the league they're playing in against Greenstead Town FC. And Kane Critchlow was able to find the net after coming off the bench. He scored twice to help to help Cheltenham Ford win 3-1. He was only on the field for maybe 2 or 3 minutes when he scored his first goal, and then he would score again. And he's been a proven person in the Bermuda lineup, scoring crucial goals, crucial moments, and he's done the same for his club in the UK. So not to be outdone, Willie Clemens scored as well, playing for Felixstowe and Walton FC. They won 3-0. Clemens basically scored the third goal, and he's been one of those players. He was in the Bermuda team or in the Dominican Republic. Didn't play. But the leadership in which he can provide both on and off the field, I think, is something that he's now understanding. This is his role in these teams. So hats off to him for continuing on, especially after picking up an injury that could have ended his career.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah. And then we look at Keysai Martin. His team went down 3-0 to Hereford FC. And we all know Hereford because that's the club that Meshach and Canton played for back in the day when they were younger and playing. And they were in the UK leagues. Luke Robinson and Whitehawk, they earned a crucial 1-0 victory over Folkestone. And then Milan Butterfield, he went down playing for Basford United. They went down to Ashton United FC 4-3. And then Mazai Simmons, his team, he plays for Hucknall Town. They picked up a 3-2. They went down 3-2 to Deeping Rangers, a team that Ty Williams used to play for a few seasons ago. Reggie Lamb and Needham Market FC, they drew 1-1 against Scarborough. And Justin Donowa, his team played in the FA Cup, but they went down to Stockport 3-1 in their match. And then we could turn our attention to coaches and the women. In the women's side, Kenny Thompson and her AFC Bournemouth teammates, they reached the semifinals of the Women's FA Nations League plate after defeating Cambridge United 2-1. Jasmine Spence scored for her Newport Pagnell Town team, and they won 7. I think it was 7-0 or 11. Yeah, 7-0, and she scored from the penalty spot. Kiana Dill and her FC United of Manchester team, they went down 4-1 to Tranmere Rovers. Leah Nolan and her Bradford City women's teammates, they were knocked out of the Derby Women's FA Cup, falling to Burnley 11-0. And Kelshey Birch Waldron and her Town Lady teammates went down 4-1 to Dulwich in their match. Deshaun Cooper, we all know, who is goalkeeping coach. He helps out with the Queen's Park Rangers youth and women. Their women's team advanced to the next round of the FA Cup with a 5-0 victory over Saltdean United. Over in the U.S., David Bascom's Baltimore Blast concluded their preseason. They actually start their season this coming weekend. They picked up a win over a DMV Gunners team in a preseason match, and Jair Parfitt, his team over in Ireland, Glentoran, drew 2-2 on the weekend. So that's been a lookout of our overseas players that took part in matches this weekend and their team. So it's been a good time for them.
Yeah, I know we wasn't here last weekend, but shout outs to our previous, Connor Smith.
Oh yes, okay. Yes, Kano. Yes, and
Why
about
not?
yeah, it was yes to Kano, and well, we had intentions of having Zico Lewis on our last night show of um, the football show,
Mhm.
uh, but he had technical difficulties. But we're going to have him on next week, Sunday night. Um,
Okay.
and his team won the USL Division One title. So, Kano and Zico have done tremendously well in the US, and hopefully
Yeah.
David can make it a 3 US along with what Mia Christopher and Leilani Nisbeth have been doing on the later side. So, you look at, we have a bright future.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
just need people to follow, it's not always going over to Europe. It's
No.
opportunities, plenty of opportunities in the US. And
Yeah.
I think that if we can start looking towards that, I think a lot more of our young people will have that opportunity to make it as a professional player, because you
Yeah.
can't make it in the U.S.
I,
Or
I,
even in Canada, as we
correct.
saw the late Freddie Hall and Reggie Lamb playing for
Yes.
Toronto FC.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I as another female player that I'm really waiting and hoping. Actually, two, but I think this player. I think she's going to be the next female player to be in the draft. Honestly, very soon. Good child.
yes,
Go a
cool.
good child. Yes, go
Plays
a
for
good
Howard.
child.
Plays for Howard.
That's
Yeah, yeah,
she's showing a lot of potential. She's showing a lot of, she's a good player to watch.
yeah.
So I commend her too.
Sure.
Danny Watson, she's not she's all right,
Yeah.
and I
Danny's been struggling with
yeah.
injuries. When I say
Mhm.
injuries, she's been subjective to a lot of concussions. So
Yeah.
that's it's unfortunate because like you said, she has a lot of potential. If she can overcome these injuries, which are significant injuries, um,
Mhm.
some of these injuries have ended people's careers
Yeah.
through medical, advice. So hopefully she can continue, and she does get an opportunity to grow into the professional that we all know she can
Yes,
be.
she can be. Yeah, she
Yeah,
and she's mind you, she's been playing football for. I remember going on a under-20 tournament, women's under-20 tournament, and she was in the under-15 team.
yeah, 14.
Yeah,
Yeah, yes,
going to
yes.
Haiti, and she was under 15 and being under 14, and she was going
Mhm.
for under-20 tournament and played in that tournament. If
Right.
I correct. So
Yeah.
Danny's another one. Like I said, Koa, Danny, um, that's they're a good bunch. Luke, that's Luke. On the men's side, I love his game, and I can't wait to see him, um, make it. Um,
Mm.
um, yeah, it's quite a good players that Bermuda has, and I just can't wait. And I understand that we have to wait, but I
Yeah.
can't wait. Really, really is a good player. That, like he said, he's starting to understand that he's got that senior mentality, and he can be a good field general. He is a great field general.
Yeah.
He can take that ball and get that ball passed to whoever to attack you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So Donovan, I love to see him. I love to see him.
Yeah.
He's a
He's
great
back
player.
after injury
Yeah,
as well. New
exactly. He's
club.
back. Yeah.
It's good to
So,
see guys coming back from injuries and
yeah.
and getting themselves back into the field. So he'll be
Yeah.
pressing for a spot in the next lineup for Bermuda.
And another player and CJ for PAC. He
Yeah,
was
Pablo.
he was
Yeah, he's playing
yes,
for
Pablo.
Benfield. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
CJ and his teammate
Reserve or Riley
Reserve.
Robinson.
Yes, Reserve
Yeah,
and Riley. Yes, yes.
yeah, yeah.
Reserve is. I'm always watch Reserve as a referee. I'm always watching him and my his game at Devonshire Coats.
Mhm.
Mind you, he has a great football family. He comes from a great football family.
Right. Right.
So, but CJ has been. I want to see CJ. CJ, if I ain't gonna say this, I'm not gonna say it, but I'm saying it. CJ is gonna be Bermuda's #1 goalkeeper, and Dale Eve, you better watch out.
It's always good. It's always good to have competition. So that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah,
I think
yes.
Dale would understand that he would have been the one that you'd have been saying that about the former goalkeeper before he took over. That Dale Eve was going to be the next Bermuda goalkeeper. So that person needed to watch out. So it only does the game good that we know that we have somebody coming behind who will do an admirable job for the country. And still got a lot of years to play.
I honestly, and also I gotta give my hands out to Mr. Lowe, talking director, because he's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
You just naming out all these Bermuda players, not just male and female, that are doing very well.
Yeah.
Very, very well in the international stage.
Yes, indeed. So, well, we'll be back next week, I guess, with another edition of the Islandstats English Premier and Bermuda Overseas Players Show.
What would you say? What is your pick? Actually, I want to ask you that. What is your pick for everybody should be watching? What English Premier League game that you and everybody should be watching
this weekend coming up? I tell you what. The Liverpool-Everton game is probably always one of the toughest battles that whenever Liverpool go to Goodison Park, it's always a battle.
Yes.
And I would say that one there because it could change a lot of things if Everton were to pull something off.
Yeah. But that's okay. That's in 2 games. So I want to know this weekend, like tomorrow and Wednesday's slate of games.
Oh, who does Manchester United play tomorrow on Wednesday?
Arsenal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that should be very interesting Wednesday night. And then I saw Chelsea play Tottenham on Saturday, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah, that's another interesting one to watch.
No,
it's almost like it's Derby weekend.
Yes, that's Tottenham and Sunday. That's Tottenham on Sunday. So, we got the battle of staying up in the Premiership. We got Ipswich versus the Crystal Palace this week.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
That should be. Yeah, that I mean, that has a significance of who gets itself out, who stays in. So there's a lot on the line in that game.
Who can breathe easy and who?
Yeah, at least for a night.
For a night, exactly, for the weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, I it's like tomorrow and Thursday, we got some games, and then this weekend.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll keep our eyes posted and see what happens. All right.
All right.
Okay. All right. Well, have a good night. Thank you, folks. We'll be back next week, Monday, with another edition of the Islandstats English Premier and Bermuda Overseas Players Show. Thank you for joining.
Awesome.